Greetings, Shay's Heart fam. How are you doing tonight? I did put a post letting everyone know that I was going live at 10 o'clock. I know I'm a couple minutes early, but here we go. I hope that all is well. I hope that your day have been going great. I want to really speak to those people that may feel as if they don't feel appreciated. I want you to know that you're appreciated. I want you to know that you are enough. And I also want you to know that every part of you is valued. You just have to find the people that's in your corner. You have to find your tribe. And a lot of times you are trying to fit in where you don't fit in anymore. So I would advise that you find your soul tribe and you find those people that you click with. Those people that love you for you, not for who they want you to be. Now, once you do that, you will find that pure and genuine connection with those people. But that's a shade burst for today. Next, on to this segment, I really want to speak about my divorce story. It doesn't matter how many people is viewing this, but this and even the people who's going to come back and rewatch this. I appreciate you for being who you are. I appreciate you for your support. I first off want to state my age. For those that may have never seen my videos, I am a 33-year-old divorcee. I am currently in a healthy relationship. I'm also, for now, a single mother, but it won't be like that forever. And I have learned a lot of ups and downs with being a divorcee of 3 years now. 5 years if you count separation. According to stats, 70 or 80% of women actually initiate divorce. Now, I before I get into my story, I really want to speak about the beauties of marriage and what divorce is. Marriage is two people coming together in union and connection to unite their lives together. A lot of people don't understand the beauty of marriage and the sacredness of marriage because of television, because of the things that is what it is. But I'm here to tell you this much. When it comes to marriage, marriage is a beautiful thing. Marriage is not just two people loving one another coming together. You don't marry for love. And I know that people make it seem like it. You do not marry for love. Let me make sure I have this right. You do not marry for love. Why am I saying this? Why am I saying you don't marry for love? Because so many people say they fall out of love and then they want something else as if it's a job, as if it's not important, as if you're just dating. Marriage is more than just dating. Hey, how you doing, Mike? But marriage, oh, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. I did say 10. Thanks. And I did put the post up. So I told you I told you I would let you know. But marriage is a beautiful thing. And I believe that in today's society, they make marriage seem like, oh, well, I like this person, I love this person. Yeah, we're meant to be together. That's marriage isn't that simple. Marriage is two souls that's supposed to be together. You are marrying your soulmate. You are marrying a person that you're supposed to be with. You're marrying a person that you were born to be with. Marriage it's a beautiful thing. But so many times people are marrying people out of love. First off, that's the issue. Never marry out of love. Trust me, I'm saying this as a divorcee. I'm saying this as a successful life coach. I'm saying this as a person who have heard many ups and downs and failures and even many divorces and even people that still married and struggling because they marry for love. You don't marry for love. Do you know why you get married? You get married to represent God. relationship with his children. See, people don't look at marriage as a biblical thing. Marriage is very biblical. It's one of the most biblical things, period. Back then, people didn't get married because, oh, I like this person. Oh, I want to be with this person the rest of my life. I want to have children with this person. No, marriage was a way of joining two souls together that's together on a sole purpose to serve God's will. That's it. And you are literally the picture of God to people. And that's the reason why it's such a struggle for some people. Because some people get married for worldly reasons. But marriage is a sacred union that God called two people together to come together, despite their differences, despite their backgrounds or race, politics, whether you believe in Buddha, this person is a Christian. It doesn't even matter about what your belief system is, right? And people don't take marriage seriously. And even back then, yeah, back then marriage was more sacred. And believe it or not, if you look at the history of marriage back then, the reason why marriage back then was so valued was because that was the only way. See, women back then, they weren't loose. They weren't up here just giving it out like that. In order for a man to get a woman in bed, he had to marry her. That was a requirement. And I know that may seem shallow, but yeah, men had to marry the woman in order to get her in bed. And of course, children followed, and so many other things happened with marriages back then. The women had no control over their lives. They had to like they were with this man. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter whether or not that man was husband material. They were stuck with that man. Even it was laws back then. Even some laws today in some parts of the world where grown men can marry small children, long as she's of a certain age. So trust me, marriage it holds different weight, different places. So marriage, it's people have taken the sacredness of marriage away. So marriage isn't just having someone that you can screw for the rest of your life and someone you have children with. It's about purpose. What are you here for? How can you give God the glory in your life through your marriage? Marriage is a holy union and it's sacred. Even virginity, like someone being a virgin, that's the reason why that's the reason why it's upheld to a place. And with virginity, or someone being a virgin, you didn't have any soul ties. A lot of times, like today, people getting married with soul ties, and their soul is still tied to someone else previously because of sex or sex for marriage. And I hate to get biblical, but hey, it is what it is. And I get the Bible is what it is. I do believe in the Bible. I am a Jesus follower. Now, I am a very spiritual person who's connected with her spirit, and I do recognize God for who God is. So that's my truth. And I found that so many people try to go away from the word of God concerning certain matters. But marriage is something to be upheld. It's sacred. It's not just to have a sex buddy or a roommate. It's really to live purpose together. Now, it's some people they get with people that they chose, the people that they like, versus the people that God wanted to be with. Now, when it comes to divorce, there's an I don't know, it's a theology or analogy of Zeus. Zeus created us. It's like this theory that we were born with two heads, four arms, and four legs. And I guess humanity messed up somewhere. And you can literally look this up. It's just a theory. And and because humanity messed up or wasn't in its proper place, I don't know. Zeus decided to separate us. And so we're cursed to find that person that that matches with our soul, which is our soulmate. Now, I don't know how true this may be, but it makes sense. It makes. I mean, did I say four arms? I mean, two arms and four legs. Excuse me, two heads, two. You know, you get what I'm trying to say. So yeah, television. Yeah, television, romantic movies. So many things have told us what marriage is, but I'm telling you what marriage is not. Marriage is not about love. Marriage is about purpose. Because the thing about love is so strange. You can love somebody this moment and hate them the next. So love is tied in with our feelings and emotions and what's going on in the happenings. No, marriage is about being with someone that your soul was meant to be with before you were even created. It's a divine connection that you have with someone. And I think we're searching for that. Even with divorce, it's a separation of the soul. Me being divorced after 3 years, I can honestly say that divorce is one of the hardest things to go through. And it's something that I wouldn't wish on anybody. And I get that this particular video may not be for everybody. Hey, but divorce is literally you separating your soul. You're separating memories you have with this person. You're separating history you have with this person. I was happily married for 8 years. I can't attest to my ex husband because he may have a different testimony, but I can honestly say, from what was represented, it seemed like a very loving marriage. And divorce, in my own experience, it was literally like taking certain memories and certain parts of who I became in a process and separating it. Now it's a process though, because when it comes down to the realness of divorce, divorce is so hard because the thing is, the more you have sex with someone, the more your soul is tied to them. So the fact that I was having sex with this man for 8 years and had two children by him, we lived together, we went through life together, we had memories together, and I was married at 19. Well, we were married at 19, and he so happened to be his birthday is a week our after we were married. We were married January 16th, 2009. We were married a year after I graduated from high school. So when it comes down to the realness, we got married at a young age. And we really didn't know ourselves then, to be honest. So with the divorce part of it, it was so many memories that was forged, so many memories that was created that that were created at that point in time that to separate all those memories, it's like trying to separate the good and bad in you. You know, have you ever tried to separate the good, the bad, and the neutral side of you or the different parts of you? You can't because those experiences, those bad experiences made it kind of created those lessons for you. Those bad things taught you lessons. Those lessons taught you how to level up or level down or whatever else the result may have been or is in your life presently. So when it comes to marriage and memories and these and all these different things, when you look at it from a certain perspective, marriage, I mean divorce, that's what makes divorce so hard. So because it's literally like separating parts of yourself that's entwined and entangled with this other person. Your life is not the same. See, it takes someone who have actually been through it. And when I was 19 years old, I met my ex-husband through high school. Believe it or not, we went to Hamilton High School. That's on Person here in Memphis, Tennessee. For those Memphians, woo woo. So Wildcats, we had Wildcats, by the way. So I graduated 2008, and and the thing is, we went to the same school. I think he went to the school, but he was just a friend of mine. And of course, I had a couple boyfriends in high school. He probably dated a couple females. We were not high school sweethearts. We met. I braided his hair a couple times. We had a couple conversations. It was just like we were cool. And at that point in time, if from my memory, we were just cool. And I remember one time he asked me, "Can he draw me?" Because he was really good at drawing, and I think he still is. I'm not sure if he still draws or not, but I just knew that was our relationship. I saw him sometime in between classes. That was it. And after high school, I ended up seeing another another classmate, and I ended up just going over his mother's house or something. And guess who opened the door? Voila, Carl. So so for me to see him in 11th grade, and then years after, or I would say shortly after graduating, seeing him again, it was a shock. So of course, seeing him, we just end up just shooting the breeze, and I found out he was in the military. So me found out that he was in the military. I'm like, okay, so you travel? He was like, yes, I'm currently in Germany, and he had been in for 2 years at that point in time. I'm trying to see. No, it had to be a year or so, because at that point in time, him and I were best friends for a year. So I'll say he was in for a year, and he was currently dating somebody else, and we went through so many things. I like somebody. I was working two jobs. I was working at FedEx and Java Juice and Jazz. So I had a day job as a waitress, a night job as a handler. Yeah, handler on Democrat. And so, anyways, he would take me back and forth to work, and we were just cool. We would just hang out. We would just talk, shoot the breeze. We would hang out with our friends, and he invited me to church. Now, I already had my own. I think at that point in time, I did not have a church home, so I was invited to go to church with him, and the rest is history. We end up just going to church together. I end up joining the ministry, that particular ministry. It was full of young people, and of course, naturally, when you hang out with somebody, you talk to somebody, your bond, you get a closer bond with them, and and so that's what happened naturally. It was like it was as natural as breathing with him, and yeah, yeah. FedEx was the place. Oh my gosh, FedEx was the place. I remember. Yes, FedEx was the place. But end up going to Bethel Temple Bethel Temple Praise and Worship Ministries on Elvis Presley. That's where you're gonna that's Bellevue and Elvis Presley. That's by the Bellevue Park. It's not called Bellevue Park, but anyone that lives in Memphis, you know what it's called. We never call the parks by their names, but like where they're located. But it's right by their park, and it's a building that's right across the street from the gas station. Then it's also an Ace right there. It's right there. It's a white building. That's where the church was. It's not. It's no longer, a church. It's something else now. But just being a youngin, just going there and just seeking God. I just wanted to know God better. And I, over time, just me just growing closer to God, this young man, who happened to be my ex-husband now, he actually led me to God. He led me to have a closer connection with God. We prayed together. We spent time together. We had Bible studies over his dad's house. It's been times I had spent the night. It was never in his bed or anything, but it was like in the den area of his dad's house. His dad is now, well, my now late ex father in law is now, he's passed. Lord rest his soul. But back then, We'll all just hang out in the den, have our snacks, zoos, have the Bible, crack their Bible open. And it was just like that. And he just really was a big part of my growth in my youth. And I knew that he was special, but we never dated. We were just best friends. He was dating somebody, I was liking somebody, and he ended up breaking up with her. And it was no like, oh, I like you. I didn't even know he liked me. You know what I mean? It was just, we were just cool. He was a shy guy. He didn't tell me he was liking me when he was dating somebody else. It was a whole situation. But we really had a spiritual connection. That was just really it. And we end up just being the best of friends. So this moving this on like past that friendship period, we end up just really connecting to a place where we end up talking about marriage, and we end up talking about life, and talking about, hey, what would it be like if, like, do you want to get married? We end up talking about marriage, but not marriage together. And we both wanted to be a husband and wife. So we both had that natural desire to be that for one another, or just be that. And he joked like, what if we get married? And I laughed, like, I don't know about that. Because he was just he was my homeboy, you know what I mean? I didn't see him like that. But little did I know he saw me like that. And so I can say, yes, after that year, just hanging out, and even when he went back to Germany, we would talk on the phone. I mean, it was just, he was just a cool person, honestly. Now, fast forward to a year, I had known, and he had known that he and I were husband and wife. Now, some people may or may not know this, but hey, he had prayed, and he was praying, and I was praying, whether we were apart or together. And I was asking God for validation who he was in my life. It's just my husband, it's just someone I'm hanging out with. And I remember one of the times, him and I were just cool like that. And we were watching like High School Musical upstairs a, at a church member's house. And I just laid on him in a way, because I was just comfortable to lie down, like lay on him, or put my shoulder next to his or something. It was where I could feel, his chest or his arm. And I literally, I lied down because I had never been this close to him. But that particular time, I just ended up lying down on the side, and he was lying down, or he was slanted some type of way. I had like put my head to his chest or something. That's how I remember it. I don't remember the position necessarily because it was so long ago. And our heartbeats were the same for a good 3 seconds. And I was like, wow. And at that point in time, I had stopped talking to him. It was a lot of stuff going on before he came back in town. And, because it was just crazy stuff going on back then. I don't remember all the details, but I do remember when he came back, him and I hung out. It was awkward. And he said, "Why are you hiding? Why are you hiding from your husband?" And it was the same time that his heartbeat was doing it. Like his heartbeat was the same as mine. I was like, and then later on that night, we ended up going to the store. I forgot what it was called at that point in time, but it was the store right across the street from Bellevue Park. And we're close to Castalia. So it was a good 15-minute walk. So we walked that night. Well, him and I walked that night, went and got some pizza or something. And it was a guy named Pop. And he was like, "Hey, is this your wife?" And it was the way he said it. And it was just like, right, right. And right, most definitely, like if a guy isn't speaking about marriage, no, he's not. Excuse me. There you go. That's better. He's not interested at all. But he was definitely preparing him. God was preparing him for marriage. Now, after that, him and I, it was just so many. It was so much stuff that went on like so fast. After that, it was like our validation, like we're supposed to be together. Whew. We ended up getting married soon after that, and he went back to Germany. I was back here in Memphis, Tennessee for like 5 months, and I ended up going there with him and coming back and moving to Texas and Fort Campbell. It was just so much stuff that happened so fast. But I can say one of the things that I regret about that marriage in the beginning was actually dating him, because him and I never dated. We were best friends the whole time. People thought we were dating. That's the crazy part. People like, y'all dating, y'all dating. Like, no, we're not dating. But I can say, after 2 years, our first daughter was conceived, Sophia. Our second daughter, the year, like literally 1 year later, a she was, I was pregnant again. And we actually had a pretty decent marriage. He was in the military. I thought he'd get out. I didn't like the military life, but it was something that I really grew accustomed to. Now, why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because I want people to understand my marriage story and the divorce story. It was so much stuff that happened in between that this would be like a 3-hour video. But I can say, upon getting married at 19, I don't regret it. I learned so much. I got a chance to travel. I got a chance to go to places I never thought I'd be. I got a chance to learn about culture, other people's culture, along with my own. And I just had so much experience. I gained friends, people. PCS. That's when you move. That's when you move out and you move to another place. And I learned a lot of military lingo. I learned so much about myself. And I was actually very flexible. I was actually able to do so much. So upon the divorce, I did not choose to get divorced. That was on him. Because for the first 2 years, it was so much baggage to unload that honestly, can I get transparent and real? It was so much baggage to unload that I can't honestly say that we knew each other the first 2 years. The first 2 or 3 years, really. Because all the baggage from our childhood, being molested, dealing with toxic family members, dealing with different parts of ourselves and religion, really just growing into who we were as people. I had an anger issue, I had control issues, I had jealousy issues, and I was not my best self. And then we had children, then bills came and trying to get a car, building credit. It was so much. And I can honestly say on my end, the anger, the control issues, and the jealousy issues, it really, 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 really messed up things on my end. And on my ex husband's end, let me be honest, my ex husband had a lot of things in his closet. He had dealt with some childhood traumas. Well, he had some childhood traumas that honestly I pointed out to him, but he never want to deal with it. And I think that if he would have gotten therapy in the beginning, well, I'm saying him. I'm gonna say us. Us. I'm gonna say us. If we would have gotten individual therapy, I'm gonna say that things would have been a lot smoother because of the things that happened to him. It was so severe that it really did a work on him. And the things that I had to deal with in the beginning was I had to deal with a traumatized boy man. Yeah. And me having to deal with that traumatized boy man, I, yes, he was good with finances. Yes, he was a good husband. Yeah, yes, he was a good lover. Yes, you know, he was a great person. But I think that the first 2 or 3 years, he acted more like a good boyfriend. I'm gonna say that. At that point in time, I can't. I said I couldn't. I can't really say that he was a great or good husband. I'm not just said that. I'm like, but he acted more like a good boyfriend. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say that. And because this is not easy to talk about, because the things that happened and the things that he was doing, it some things that add up, some behaviors he had that really made me wonder. It's like he didn't take accountability for anything. You know what I mean? It's like he knew how to put on his face. He knew how to say this. He knew how to do this. He knew how to wear his mask well. But behind closed doors, sometimes he was a totally different man. And I wonder, like, who is this guy? You know? And he would unload all his baggage to me, and I'll unload all my baggage to him. But have you ever been in a place where it's nothing but doo doo, and it's nothing where it stink? And it began, and the relationship began to stink in the beginning. It's like, right. And I do believe that society, definitely with black men, it's a lot. And my ex husband, he was, at that point in time, I don't think he was sergeant then, but he was in the military. He was going to school, and then on top of that, he was learning how to be a be a. At that point in time, we had our first child. No, we had two children at that point in time, 2 or 3 years. So we, I don't know how old Sophia was. Sophia had to be one. So we had little babies. So he had to learn how to be a father, and while he was still learning how to be a man. And honestly, I don't think that he really mastered that within the relationship until later in the relationship, honestly. And with him gone and active duty, it was so much stuff going on with him, and he had to juggle so much. But me being young, me being on fire, me just being this person that had no control over her emotions, I expected my ex-husband to, my husband then, to regulate. Hey, how y'all doing? I expected my husband, but now ex-husband, to regulate my emotions. I think that was one of the things I really learned early in the relationship. And I promise you, when it comes down to emotions and managing and pacifying yourself, that's one of the things I learned. And I wish we would have had at the beginning. Because anytime I got pissed off, anytime I got mad, anytime I felt some type of way, it's like I really didn't take full accountability for my stuff. You know what I mean? It took me a while to get to a place to recognize, like, oh, Shay is not perfect. And I had this mask of perfection, like I'm just this perfect person. But when it came to my emotions and I got pissed off and I got mad, all my emotions I dumped on him. And I expected him to hold his stuff in mine too. And it's like, it's like, it was just crazy. And he was doing the same thing to me. So here we are dumping our traumas and emotions and expecting one another to fix one another. And we still prayed, we still went to service, we still did those things, but it was on a religious level. So when you are going to God religiously, you're not going to God with a heart of repentance or God, like God change us. It was not that. It was like, well, God bless us with this. It was just like those. This we had a very shallow relationship with God at that point in time. In the marriage, you're supposed to uplift one another, and we were doing that. It was just we struggled. We had to live off of bologna and Roman noodles for the week because he wasn't making that much money. And when you are just starting in the military, if you're a PFC or if you're private first class, if you that you're not making that much money, you making 5,000. That's why I remember $5,000. I could be wrong, but I remember he gave me 1,000, and then I remember him getting like 3 or 4 other thousand, or it's 4 or 5 thousand that he was getting, I believe, a month or every two. It was a month, yeah. So it wasn't that much, and we didn't have a vehicle. So I mean, we didn't have a car. We had one phone, and he was paying for internet. So it was just so much stuff going on at that point in time that we both were ignorant. We both were a boy and a little girl trying to figure out grown up stuff. And we both were parents. And here I am striving to find out what my purpose is. And he's trying to figure out what his purpose is. And it's like that first, like I'll say that first year just by itself was so much figuring out. And I wish that I can go back if I could. I'm not saying I want to. I have no desire to be my ex husband. I'm that chapter that book that chapter is closed completely. But I'm saying, what would have made that marriage better in the beginning would have been if I would have actually dated him for a year instead of just being his friend or being his best friend and then deciding to get married to him. Like if I would have given God, if I would have stood back, I said, God, work on him and work on me. Prepare me for marriage. Prepare me to be this wife that you called me to be. If I would have been in that place, I would have never brought my baggage. I would have never brought my anger issues. I would have never brought those jealousy issues. I would have brought my insecurities to that marriage the first 2 or 3 years. And my ex husband's Jack and Hyde personality would have never been what it was. And it's like he was an X-ray. So X-ray is like the person who talks to the person before they talk to the therapist. So he worked in the field of psychology. He was going to school for psychology. His bachelor's or something in psychology. I don't know if he got it or not. I don't know. I don't remember. But I do remember that he was going to school for it. So the brother was educated in how the brain works and personalities and all that. And so I remember precisely him coming home. He'd come home, I'd give him 15, 30 minutes. He'd play the game. He'd have dinner on the table. You know what I mean? Of course, I was always available for, loving or sex or just sexy at the house. And of course, after children, things happen. Sex drive was what it was. My ex husband had a high sex drive. My sex drive was probably low medium. So I was just trying to catch up with him. But I'm just saying, with the sex drive and all those different things, we were trying to figure it out. And I think we did our best. I really, really do think we did our best. And with the learn lessons in that marriage. And why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because you really don't hear people really, really being transparent. And honestly, you don't hear a lot of women that's being accountable for their mess. And I was a hot mess, okay, in that marriage for a long time. And I think it took like 4 years for me to actually finally get into therapy. And once I actually got into therapy, things got so much better. It could have been longer, but I remember 4 years. This is just my recount. And I'm sure people I had my in-laws telling me that I was giving him for the money, I was giving him because of this or that. I had to literally fight to be his wife in the beginning because my in-laws they would just go to him for money just because. I'm like, we ain't got that money. It's like the money that he was making, all of a sudden it was my money too. So if you are lending out $500, $300, $200, that's taking money out of our account. So if we needed food, if we needed clothes, if we needed shoes, that was out of our money. You know what I mean? And even back then, I don't think we were on social media. You know what I mean? So social media, that's before social media really, or before actively being on social media. I say that because I did get on social media, but I wasn't as active in the beginning of making videos and whatnot what I'm doing now. So I take a couple photos or something on his phone or my phone and post it. So social media wasn't what it was, but I can say I learned so much. I learned to be flexible. I learned that you need to give somebody at least 6 months to a year before marrying them. If you're dating them, give them 6 months to a year before even considering fully marrying them, because you need to actually get to know them first. Don't marry quickly. Don't go into something because you have a liking and a chemistry or connection with them. That can fade over time. Looks can fade over time. Body can fade over time. Sex can fade over time. All those things can fade over time. And get some therapy. Make sure you heal your childhood wounds. Do not bring your childhood traumas to a new connection or to a marriage. And I believe that God allowed me to go through all of that for this reason, to even do this video for someone else. And so share it, please. But it was really, like I said, I should have dated him for a year. Should have gotten to know him better instead of, oh, he's a great guy. Oh, he's romantic. Oh, he's cute. Oh, this, the cutesy stuff, the romantic stuff. But I really didn't get down to the nitty gritty. I found out he had eczema. Our oldest daughter, she have eczema. So she has eczema. So I'm having to deal with that. So when I look at now, and like what I know now, if I can apply it to back then, or if I can speak to that version of myself, I would definitely tell her to take it slow and be patient, because I didn't know a lot of medical things that was going on in his family, and him and I'm gonna be honest, him and I, like far as sex wise, some people's not gonna be as honest. Sex wise, him and I, we hadn't really went there. I'm gonna say that, and I was a virgin. You know what I mean? And in his own way, he was a virgin. So we ended up having sex before marriage, but it wasn't like we were just going at it. We hunched a couple times, kissed a couple times, and then that one time happened. And then shortly afterwards, that's when we got married. Because we went to our apostle at that point in time and let her know what happened. She's like, y'all need to go and get married since y'all already did it. So the 9-day rule, yeah. The 9-day rule, I think it applies to everyone. Yes. Yeah, the 9-day rule, I think it applies to everyone, but I would extend the 9-day rule, and I would definitely say my math is not mathing as it should tonight. So I say give it 6 months instead of 3 months. Extend that, double it. And I like Steve Harvey and everything, but give it 6 months instead of three. Like that will make a heck of a difference, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know. But some people not that strong. But I'm just saying. So those are just a couple of things that I've learned as far as dealing with the trauma. Unload your baggage, please, in your singleness. That's why I speak on, like, you're single. Hey, don't try to get hooked up with somebody. Don't try to get married. Deal with you. Learn how to love you. And please do, because what you don't deal with your singleness, it's gonna come up in that marriage. It's gonna come up. It's stuff you swept on the rug, something somebody did to you a long time ago. It's gonna come up. And trust me, because it came up in my first marriage and it was ugly. Do you understand? And it's nothing like trying to heal you and heal, like you trying to heal you and then trying to heal him too. Then y'all have children trying to heal them. So you trying to break generational curses, but then you haven't even dealt with yourself. So I had to heal within the marriage. So that was a whole nother thing. And I was so insecure with myself. I didn't love myself like I should. And that man, he like, you're so beautiful, you this. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You know what I mean? I didn't have the self-confidence that I have now. I had my self-esteem was very low, and I've always been a pretty woman. It's just I did not see myself as pretty back then. Beautiful body, but I didn't see my body as beautiful. It's just he had to validate me in so many ways. He had to emotionally validate me all the time. I had to emotionally validate him, and then I make him accountable for my emotions. I was so immature, and then on top of that, that anger issue, baby, I have thrown, shoot, shoot, fights. I started them. I'm like, I wish you would, nigga. You know what I mean? I was about that life. And so I had to really calm down. And God have calmed me down these last 5 years. So I'm just saying it's a work in progress. All right. So I'm really preparing myself to be a wife again. And I'm taking those lessons because I'm really getting to know it. I'm really getting to know. I've really gotten a chance to know me. I have. I literally after that divorce. I took about close to 2 years before actually being emotionally available for anybody. Now, did I try? Yes, I did. Hell yeah. Like I'm separated. Yes, I'm free. But I it hurt me more than help. So during that period of time, of course, I already had a therapist, but I'm like, I'm going to get a new one. So yes, I've had a couple counselors. I don't say therapists, but counselors. I've had a couple counselors along the way and licensed counselors. Mm. But I promise you, I've had to do some shadow work. I've had to deal with parts of myself. I've had to forgive that version of myself. And even now, with this fast I was telling y'all about that I'm still on, it's ending on the 1st of January. I'm learning so much about myself. I'm reconnecting with parts of myself. And those other parts of myself, they had to learn different lessons. And I thank my 20-year-old self, or my 19 to 20-year-old self, because without her, I would not be here. And I think so many times our we look back at our younger selves like, oh, we really didn't love. We didn't know what love was. No, she knew what love was. It's just what she was. My younger version of myself, she just wanted to have a successful life. She wanted marriage. She wanted children. She wanted the whole shebang. But she wasn't ready mentally. She wasn't ready physically. She wasn't ready to be married. You know what I mean? She wasn't ready for a military life because I was thrown into a military life. I knew that he was in the military, but he said he would get out within a year or so. He never did, and I had to deal with it. And I had a lot of resentment towards him because he stayed in the military. And a great deal of time, y'all, I felt like I was a third wheel. God first, the military, then me, then the children. If they called, boom. If him and I, in between a love making session, he had to get up. I mean, it was points of times where a soldier would call. At that point in time, he was a sergeant. Guess what? If we on a dinner, he had to leave. It didn't matter what we did. It didn't matter what, even if he had to leave. It was like it was a certain level there that I was like, I don't matter. And I resented the military. I resented him. I resented that lifestyle, even though it was a great lifestyle, but it was just not. I wasn't the one for it. I didn't like the distance. I didn't like him being gone. I didn't like him being deployed that time. He was, thank God goodness, he was only deployed once, and that was for 8 months. Imagine 8 months being away from somebody you love. 8 months, messaging, calling, skyping, and so it was a whole lifestyle that some people don't understand. And that's why I'm here talking about it, because I don't think I really just really dove deep into that lifestyle. I had to be alone a great deal of time. I felt like a married single woman, and that's really true. And I'm gonna tell you what a married single woman is. A married single woman is a woman that's married, but she's doing things by herself, like a single mother would, or a single person would. It's just that I had children. I was a married single parent because he was gone all the time. He had training, so this, and that. And it's not me complaining. Hey, I mean, it was a great lifestyle. But was I ready for that? I wasn't. I was not prepared for it. There was no handbook telling me how to be a wife, first off. And then I had to be a military wife. Ooh, that was a whole nother level there. Micro and macro managing his business and making sure his uniforms are up to date, going here, going there, run around like a chicken with his head cut off. Yeah, that was that was definitely something to match. I was always busy. Yeah, did I meet great friends? Yes, it was awesome. But I'm just telling you, the military life is not for the faint of heart. You have to have a strong heart going in there. And I promise you, and even I don't think that active duty is for married people because yes, it's great money. They're gonna pay you more. You may be gone for a year to 2 years. You know, it was so much. I met, yeah, I met other military wives. A good 50% of them were cheating on their husbands. The other 50%, they were actually faithful. And I was part of the faithful crew. And right. And my daughters, they were military brats as well. So they have more discipline and it took some time to learn military time. You know how long it took me to learn military time? That's why I use military time. I still use the lingos. So it was a beautiful life, a beautiful process. And me leaving that was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. When I found out my ex-husband was cheating on me with his god sister or a woman he grew up with, baby, broke me down to my bones, to the marrow. You understand? I was like, I've been faithful. I've devoted all this time, gained weight, lost weight, been here, been faithful every time. You gonna cheat on me? Child, y'all, we stayed on post at that point in time. Because we stayed in the house for like a year or so, or just a year off post. That was cool. But on post, parks, benefits everywhere. You can just go. I forgot what it's called, but it was a place you can go where you can get free snacks and everything. Stay all day, watch movies and everything. Just go and have your military card. That's it. They would give you things. They had events. They had groups. They had classes you can take. When I was pregnant, they had these free pregnancy classes, free credit classes. They had classes on classes that you can go to. So while he was gone, the military made sure I stayed busy. I was part of a couple clubs, okay? So I wasn't just sitting there being like that, but I was just busy and he was busy. And every month it was like the other 50% of the faithful women, we actually met up and our husbands met up. We used to have like these monthly gatherings, and every month the ladies would actually go to the movies, and the men would watch the children. And it's points of time where we will do the same thing or we'll switch it. The men will go out and the women will watch the children. Child, I promise you, I met so many military families. I met families where both of them were in the military, different ages. Some had children. That's why I found out about homeschooling. I found out about breastfeeding in the military. I didn't find out about breastfeeding here. I found out about breastfeeding there. So, so many things I do now, I learned in the military, not here in Memphis, Tennessee. So, of course, coming back, that was a whole nother journey. Right. But just going back on the cheating part of it, when I found out that he was cheating on me, I kind of felt it because he got giggly when he said her name and all this stuff. He was on the phone with her more. He was distant. And we barely came back and forth to Memphis. We probably came to Memphis. We probably visited once or twice a year. This man was coming to Memphis every weekend. Like, huh? What's going on? And I asked God, God, show me the truth. It turned out someone reached out to me, and someone reached out to somebody else, like Shay, Carl is here with blah blah blah. You know, and I asked him, he's like, no, we're friends. I heard the conversations. He put the thing on loud. He put his phone on his speaker on, like where you can hear it, like you can hear the conversation. I heard the conversations. I knew something was going on. I prayed. I put oil on the pillow. I tried sex. I tried everything. We tried marriage counseling, everything. He had emotionally checked out at that point in time because he already had somebody. So going through that and looking back at it, it hurt me because first off, she's light skinned. She was light skinned because he's not the same woman now. Pretty eyes, you know what I mean? And I'm looking like she looked totally different to me. So for a while, I did compare myself, and my children had to be around this woman. He was taking them from Six Flags, and it was one time my ex-husband, so bad, he would take. She had 7 children. He took her 7 children to Six Flags. He didn't even call to even pick up or have me to meet him to even take his own children. This man like blatantly became stepdad to another woman's children and totally abandoned his own. And I had to pick up the slack. Once a time, those 4 or 5 months of just staying there before moving back here to Memphis, I promise you, if I need my tire changed, I had to ask my neighbor husband. He was like, "Hey, this is your allowance. This is what you're gonna get. Hey, do whatever you can do with it. If you run out, I can't do nothing." And it was like, yeah. And just to be honest, I actually ended up getting an assault charge because we got in a fight. And he couldn't see his children 2 or 3 days. And he came here. He came down here to Memphis, hanging out with somebody, and came back. Yeah, it was just that serious. And I'm like, if I got to put my hands on you, then why I'm with you? So I had came down here. I came down here when the anger management, took some parenting classes. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna move down here. Forget this. Forget this. I'm not from the front. It is what it is. You with her. Da, da. At the point in time, I had cut my hair because I had already planned to cut my hair. But separation and losing someone you love, it like you really love, and that's the only person you want to be with. And then I lost my virginity to him. Oh my God. Y'all, it was just a whole nother level there that honestly I was not in a headspace where I was just thinking logically. I just want marriage back. I just wanted my family back. And I even told him this before leaving. I said, hey, if you leave her, right now, I will forgive you for everything you're doing, just so we can have our family. You know what he said? It's like, no, I'm good. Hurt me to my core. So I came down here. I was a broken woman. My soul was broken down to the bone and marrow. And I had to start over. Thank goodness I was getting some money from him and everything. And to be completely transparent, I was getting $1,000 a month from him due to him being in the military. And that gave me a good start. So it was, I was able to, are you done? So I was actually able to, at that point in time, I was actually able to just process things. I was actually able to live with a couple people. And so I got my own place, my own car. I'm my third car now. So it's been a lot of growth. And I've had to work multiple temp jobs at a time. I've had to get babysitters. I've had to take a bus. I've had to struggle. So I left that life of benefits and to now. And a friend of mine, she was like, Shay, your story is credible. You should tell it. And I'm sure it's a lot. And even if some other things that have happened these couple of years that I can't talk about right now. Because I'm in court with my ex-husband. Or about to be in court. So some messed up things. But I am in a headspace of just being grateful that those things happened after the divorce. Because if I was married to him, it probably would have been a lot. And I thank God for strengthening me through all that. Because me going through all that when I did, it taught me that my strength was not by myself, it was in numbers. And at that point in time, my family, my friends, my mentor, my Toastmasters family, I really leaned deep, like heavily on people. I came as a broken woman. I joined the church the sister church that the church that's like, how the sister church, like I went to Bethel Temple, and then the sister church was the Rock, and so we used to go over there all the time to visit. End up joining that ministry, and God. God has restored me to this place, and I cried many nights, many days, living in room houses, just trying to make it work. And I'm not trying to get sympathy. I'm just letting you know that's like for real deal my story. I've had people from church say, well, you should have prayed. You should did this. Your fault. So it's my fault that he wanted to leave. I wasn't about to be through with the marriage. No, I left. I left because God told me to let go. I let go of that marriage. Best thing that ever happened to me. So because of that, I am Shay's heart to heart. Shay's heart to heart would not exist without that. So I'm saying now, why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this to say that I've forgiven that part of myself. And I've connected with that part of myself to a place where she helped me survive. That messed up version of myself, the imperfect version of myself, helped me survive to this place. Did I ever want to be a single mother? No. That's not something I wanted to be. And I know that society will make it seem like, oh, you're a single mother because you did something wrong. No. When people break up and they have children, it's on both parties. And a lot of times, let's be honest, the weight is on the woman to take care of those children. Now, it's some women out here that have left the relationship, and a man is a single father. So, and it's more single fathers out here than single mothers, be honest. But I'm a single mother right now. And have I tried to date? Yeah. I've dated, being celibate, being in that place of just what it was. Hey, you okay? And so being in that place of being celibate and people not really wanting to date someone that's celibate, it's a different journey. It's a journey that everyone can go on. So dating for me was an issue, and it's still. I can't say where I'm at now. It's better, but dating for me was not easy. And why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this to say my life as a married woman or as a divorced woman, as a separated woman, it hasn't been easy. And it took me 2 years to be emotionally available to even be open to date. While he moved on and now he's with somebody else. Oh, I think that I think it was points and times where he would, be active in his children's lives. But people probably like see me like, well, she won't let him see the kids. Oh, I did. I want him to. But did he want to? No. Maybe it's the woman. Maybe it was just he didn't feel obligated to be that man. I don't know. But I'm not want to tell a man to be a man. You know, have he made his mistakes? A lot of them. Have I made my mistakes? A lot of them. And I can say I take my part in the divorce, the part that I was not the best wife. I was not perfect at all. But I didn't deserve I didn't deserve what I got. I didn't, because I was faithful and I was loving and I was there and I prayed with him and shoot, I tried being the best wife I possibly could have. And I was a great wife. He was a great husband. But he wanted something different. And people cheat, it's a choice. And congratulations. And the thing with being celibate and dating now, it is what it is. And social media have changed how people date and how people. If you are intentionally dating, who I'm praying for you, because that's a whole nother level. People out here now, they don't want something. They don't want anything serious. Even going back to the beginning, 70 or 80% of women are asking for divorces, not the men. I'm I'm of the minority of the women that want a divorce. I automatically, y'all, people just assumed that I wanted a divorce because of the stats. So what about the minority? What about the guys that didn't want the divorce, and now you get a divorce? And with all the divorces that's going on right now, it's a couple books. I know this is a long live, but hey, it's worth the watch. It's a couple books I want to share with y'all that actually helped me get through this whole process. Now, it's a group on Facebook called You Got This. You can go on there and vent about your day, what happened, and what's majority women in there in that group, surprisingly. And y'all, You Got This. Oh, they helped me through the separation process, the healing process. I had to go into some things, and therapy actually helped. Hypnotherapy, therapy, crystals, and really dive into my spirituality helped. And honestly, believe it or not, diving in spirituality, it actually took away the carnality of religion for me. I actually saw God in a more realistic way once I became more spiritual. I didn't see God as this figure outside of me, you know. But it's like I saw everything. Right. Yep, it's COVID-19. People don't like their mates. What you said. So I have a couple books, and I'm going to show you the first book. And I ended up getting this book years before I actually ended up getting divorced. And I don't know why I got the book. I'm like, this book seemed interesting. And I got it, never read it until the separation/divorce. This right here. Codependency No More. Oh my gosh. I need to go back in this. Ooh. This book right here. This was my man. Okay. We were together. For real deal. So this book, it really taught me about codependency. And it's how to stop controlling others and start caring for yourself. It really spoke on the power of a codependency. And what I may just go ahead and just take some photos and just send it in the community chat. Like post it. And the author is Melody Biel. So yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, well, you know what? Shoot. I'm gonna put it right here so y'all can like. But yeah, it's this book. I'm gonna put it in the chat once I get done with all of them. Okay, this book and this book. Oh my gosh. Ooh, you see this book right here, like it's been through some things. It has through some reading. So it's Inner Healing for Broken Vessel. and the 7 steps to a woman's woman's way of healing. Linda H. Hollis. Y'all, this book have stories on top of stories of women dealing with how they had to heal. These women went through some things. You see this book? You see these pages? Like, it's many days I open it up and I'm like, wow, I resonate with these women like so much. So it's inspiration for my new book actually. So I'm still working on my first book. Be patient. And but anyways, it speaks about broken vessels. And it actually on my blog, and I'm trying to see if I put it in here or if I just have it. I should have something on my Facebook, like a blog I wrote. Just go to that. If you go to the physical page, it's going to show broken pieces and them fitting in it. Like, even though they're broken, they still function. Even though you're broken, you can still function. Like a broken crayon still can color. So that was just the analogy God gave me on that. It was so many books. This one right here, though, this is my staple. Fighting back. It was the no nonsense to facing the person vampires in your life. Vampires are not just, you know, creatures of the night. It's people, energy vampires. People want to take your energy. Who wants to control you? They spoke about different levels of vampires in your life. End up getting this, and what I'm gonna do is that's what I'm saying, because right now I'm not turning my phone on tonight. So I'm just going to post in here the name of the book and the author. So I got you in the chat. Okay. Whew. This book right here, thebomb.com. Now, this one right here is living in a continual state of expectancy. Expectancy. It's not coming out, but yeah. But this book, it really has raised my vibration. And of course, I've began reading the spiritual books, and I began diving more into who I am on I'm going to say a metaphysical level. Now, I'm going to put these books down in the chat before the live is over, so you can check it out in this, and you good. Now, when it comes down to, well, I may just go to the video and just comment in the comments and put the book down there. So I'm still learning how to navigate some of these things, and I should have put the books in the the information, like the bio, like as far as explaining what the video is about. But just know these books have helped me, and I promise you, I had look, y'all, before moving from Fort Campbell, Kentucky to here, I had teachers, principals, military wives, and people that he knew in the military helping me with everything I needed to do to move. He bought the U-Haul truck. I had the U-Haul truck with some Oreos and some music. Didn't even know what a gas tank was on the U-Haul truck. With 2 children, traveling 4.5 hours to Memphis, Tennessee. I'm like, I'm gone, deuces. He begged me not to leave. I left though, because when God tells you to leave, leave. Let go. If you've done all you can do, let go. Because sooner or later people don't understand. And people don't live life, whatever. I have no desire to be my ex-husband. I'm so happy. And that part of my life, it was very important. But I can say there'll be no shades heart to heart without that. And if I could just speak to my younger self right now, I would let her know that she did the best she could do. She loved hard. She did everything she could that she was a faithful wife, great mother. I worked at some point in time. The daycare was $1,000 for both of them. So I decided not to work and stay at home. And just so we can save $1,000. It was something. I worked for 2 weeks at a shop. At that point in time, I had gotten my license and my hair license. I promise you, I was doing her at the house on base, y'all. Anyways, one of these days, because see, I'm currently writing my book now, but one of these days, I'm going to actually write a book on being an ex-military spouse because I learned so much. I had a girlfriend, or you can't say girlfriend now, a friend girl. She lived literally not 5 minutes away. When I just had Sophia, no, I think Sophia was bigger. I had Rita, or it was one of them, because both of them were rather small. They're around the same age, a year apart. You know, what I mean, 14 months apart. So she would come to the house. Say, let's go home, right around the block. I got the children. And I promise you, to this very day, I miss her. And we still friends to this day on Facebook. I actually gained so much with so many friendships. And some of their husbands, some are still in the military, some are not. It's some people that's getting divorced, some people are not. So divorce to me is bittersweet. I don't like it. I'd rather not go through it. I don't want anybody else to go through it. And I'm still going to court with my ex-husband 3 years later. So December 10th, that's the anniversary. That's the anniversary of the divorce. But even with all that, I don't regret it because I don't need my ex-husband. I don't need him anymore. I don't not codependent on him anymore. I'm not codependent on a lot of people. I am interdependent though. And the woman or the little girl that I was, she she survived. She was strong. She was real. And she's a part of me. And that goes into what marriage is. When you when you're married to someone, those times together, those memories together, the entanglements together, they create memories. So when you're going through a divorce, it's like you're trying to detach yourself from every one of them. Have you ever tried to detach every part of yourself from one memory? Do you know how hard that is? Let's say someone died that's very close to your grandmother, father, aunt. You're trying to detach yourself from that memory. When it's parts of you in that memory that's good and it's parts of you that's bad, how do you take, how do you separate the good from the bad from a memory? You can't. It's like you accept it. It's a part of the memory. That's how that's how hard divorce can be. It's like you're trying to detach the good from the bad. You're trying to take the bad out of it. But without the bad, the good would have never happened. So it so you kind of have to accept the good with the bad. Accept the whole memory. It's almost like you take the good part, you take the parts that you can use to become a better person, and you discard the parts that honestly you don't need anymore. It's it's not a simple process. And as long like let's say if someone is together 10 years, let's say 8 years, let's say 3, 5, 8, 12, 20 years, and they're divorced 2 years. How long do you think it takes for them to fully detach? There is no number, right? Because you was with that person. You were a part of the person's world. Your worlds were intermingled. Do you know how hard it is to fully detach? Some people still having sex with their partner. Some people still, you know, dibbing dabbing because they still care. But this is how I knew I was over the relationship. When I had an opportunity to get back with him, I didn't. And that was years ago. Like I said, years ago. It took me like 2 years. So after around the second year, I'm like, no, I'm good. And I had an opportunity. But I'm like, I'm good. I'm happy without you. And one of the most dangerous things to do is to let somebody go. For someone to divorce you and then you recognize who you really are and recognize you never need them in the first place. And that, my friend, is the biggest come up that you can actually have. Because once you recognize, I never need them in the first place. I'm good without you. And I think that's when you grow. You're like, wow, who is this person? And when you start liking other people, you start dating other people. And when you begin to actually want to be in another relationship, mm, it's a different feeling. And nobody's the same. And when you actually, your heart is open again to receive love, it's not the same because your heart has been broken. Your heart has been broken. So if your heart is broken, and let's say you're making bad decisions afterwards, which I have, I've had to learn so many lessons before this. So, mm, yeah, as long I'm saying, and this is just theory, but maybe this is the way to make it practical. If it's been 7 years that he was in a relationship with this woman, whether ring or no ring, that's 7 years. And 2 months, you do the math. Now, it don't, I'm not saying it's gonna take 7 years, but that's soon. And and you know something? Sometimes it's like that. A guy would know that he's going to marry a woman within 6 years or 6 months to a year. And sometimes people just be in these long term relationships, and then they get out of the relationship and they meet their soulmate. Because some people, everybody don't marry their soulmate. So this situation, it seemed like it's an opportunity to grow. Be honest, but I would say be patient with them. Be patient because you don't know what type of connection that they've had and how many of his memories are intermingled with her. And so y'all together and y'all creating these new memories, that's going to actually that's going to actually replace the old memories that he had with her. So the more time y'all spend together, the more memories y'all make together. It's like a recycle. It's almost like you recycle that process. You create new memories with a new person, and the more new memories you have with a new person, the more you fall out of love or you just detach in your own way from that person, if that makes any sense. So yeah, so I would say, if it was toxic, if it was bad, if it was something like he had to get out, I don't know the story, but it had to be a reason. I don't know the reason, but I don't want to say this bad. I'm just saying this. Be patient, and yeah. And the thing is, if he's not over her yet, stay in the talking stages. I'm being honest. Protect your heart, because when people are not over people, some people, I don't need to know the full story, but I'm saying this from experience because I was there. When someone is not fully over someone and they are entertaining or talking to somebody else, someone new, no matter how close y'all are, that could that could really put a struggle on that new relationship or that new possible relationship. So get to know as much as possible about him. Be there as a support. Be there as a friend. Be there as dad. You know what I mean? And that's okay. Just let him process that because you may not. And I don't want to sound mean or anything, but you may not be that person that he's going to end up with. Cause see, I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes guys use women to heal. I've been through this. Sometimes guys use women to heal. And you get this connection with them, and they're using your feminine energy to heal. And who they are when they're broken, it's not the same as who they are when they are healed. That's the difference. That's why you'll see somebody going through a separation, someone going through a breakup, a similar story like you're sharing, and those people are close. And because he's going through the healing process, and that woman is helping him, or let's say it's vice versa. Let's say it's a man and a woman is going through that healing. It's just that it's like that's the purpose of that person in your life. Sometimes you really won't know until time shows. And so you're spending all this time, you're healing with this person. But how you really know is once they're fully healed, if y'all still together, if you still have that connection, that's how you know. See, it's unpredictable. I'm gonna tell you about a situation. Right. Just be a good friend. Don't don't get emotionally involved with him right now. Just be a good friend. Be there to listen because you don't know if God has have you there to be a good friend or God have you be his wife. You don't know if y'all meant to be together, and it could be open door, or you could God is could have you to be there as a good friend. And that's one of the mistakes. Just like ask God, what is this man's purpose in my life? You know what I'm saying? What is this man's purpose in my life right now? And what position should I play? And God will tell you, but you have to accept that. And you have to accept what it is because sometimes as women, we go with our feelings over facts. Okay? And this is be let's go with the facts. Let the facts be the grounding for you. Let it be the truth for you. Don't try to change it up to make it fit your emotions. Let it be what it is. And let's be his friend. And ask God to show you and lead you in this situation. I want to share this really quick story when I was going through my separation. Holy Spirit, speak to me. Okay, so I end up dating. I end up dating a guy in high school. True story. And 10 years later, of course, I was going through my separation period. He was separated at that point in time, and him and I were just kicking a breeze. And him and I, we were best friends in high school, and he was the guy I was dating best friend as well. So it was all of us in a whole little group. Okay, so as I was going through my separation, he was there for me. I ended up getting a situationship with this brother. Now my heart was not fully healed at that point in time. I was not 2 years in. Like I said, I've made mistakes. I've done things out of being impatient, out of just being whatever. So him and I were cool. And at that point in time, I was celibate for 17 months. Because I've been through points. I've had my points and breaks in celibacy. So that's a whole nother story now. I'm just being completely transparent here, okay? So 17 months celibate. I had a little crush on him back in the day. Okay. You know how you date one person, but then the friend, the best friend, the closest guy to him, slightly more attractive to him than him. So that was a situation back then. I was not that type of girl. I'm not finna do that. I don't date cousins and best friends and stuff like this. I'm not gonna do that. And say years later, the brother's still looking good, okay? So him and I, we just kicking the breeze, just hanging out, and he was just encouraging me. I was going through my separation process, and he was really a big support for me. I mean, to me. And he was there. He was, around my children, stuff like that. This guy, well, I ended up catching feelings for this guy without sex. I just had an emotional connection to him, and my emotions got wrapped up, and then sex came, and it was a whole situationship, and it was on and off. So, and that was something I wish that I someone could have gave me a manual on, but I learned from that situation. That's what I'm saying. That so I was not completely over my ex husband. My heart was still with him somewhere because I had two children by this man, traveled. We struggled, eating noodles and hot dogs and bologna sandwiches for that week, taking cabs. We've been through some stuff together. If you've been through some stuff with somebody, that's not easy. Like, if you've been through some stuff downs, like if you've been through some hard moments with somebody for 7 years, is a long time. You don't know what they've been through. That's history. You can never compete with history. So, and it's not saying you are, but it's definitely something. But I learned that when you're going through a breakup, or somebody else is going through a breakup, and they're leaning on you, and it's opposite sex, something's bound to somebody's going to have feelings somewhere. But be careful and protect your heart, because if I would have protected my heart during that period of time, I would have never ended up in that hurtful situation, and I end up being more hurt from that situation than my ex-husband. That's another story. That's this even It's even deeper than that, because I allow myself to be in that headspace. That's saying, yeah, yeah, you catch feelings, and that person, and let's be honest, I'm just like that guy. Possibly that guy I was with helped me get over my ex-husband, because I began to get feelings for someone else. And that's the truth of the matter. You really don't get over somebody until you actually open up to somebody else. And that someone else may not even meant to be romantic. It maybe it's like they're just meant to be a friend. So, aka friends benefits. That's what we became. That's not a proud moment, but it is what it is. But I can say, yeah, be careful with those feelings, because when they catch you, don't let them drive the car. Don't let your feelings drive the car. Let God drive the car. Let logic and facts drive the car. The facts is he's still not over her. So that's facts. And anytime you like feeling some type of way, don't try to take away their logic. Well, just no. Go back to the basics. And it gets real. It gets really real. I'm walking down somebody's street today. It's the truth. It don't sound good. It don't sound good hearing it, but it's the truth. You may not be his soulmate. You may not be his wife. So don't put yourself in a position to be hurt. Just put yourself in a position to be his friend. Keep your options open. Because if he is not that guy, and God brings that guy your way, or whatever your preference may be, then you don't want to block that because of some feelings. Earlier, I felt happy. I felt upset today too. Feelings can trick us. Feelings, uh, we can have. It's like the weather. You have feelings. They're emotions. It's a connection. It's a possibility. But don't allow feelings to drive. Allow logic and facts to do that. That's just a tip there. But mhm, thanks for sharing that. That wasn't. I'm sure that wasn't easy. But someone had to tell me. So I'm telling you. A lot of times as women, we allow our feelings to drive us. That's why guys can manipulate us because we emotionally, you know, we grow, we allow our feelings to drive the car. But once we get control of our feelings and we actually being more logical and going by facts as well as feelings and not changing our feelings about that, you know what I mean? I promise you. Like every time he's like, I really don't want a relationship. And then we did something like, oh yeah, he did this. So we no, 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 that's my feelings interpreting the situation. The facts was he didn't want a relationship, you know. And I put my heart in a compromising position. So many times when we go in these relationships or possible relationships, you know what really takes what really feels the pain, what is really affected? The heart. We put our hearts in situations that our hearts didn't want to be in. So we have to be careful with that. Our hearts suffer because of our outer vehicle or because of our emotions. Trust me. I know. But I hope that that was helpful. What I'm going to do, if you don't have any more questions, because it's getting kind of late, I'm going to go ahead and put these books in here. And why I put these books in here? Because I believe that some people, because I said I'm going to take a break off this phone. My phone is off the whole night until tomorrow morning. You understand? So until tomorrow, I can post it. But Jesus do need to take the wheel, sis. I love you, but I got to tell you the truth. So I'm going to put these names of these books in here. Okay? Now, if you still here, say whoop, 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 whoop. Anyway. Oh, so sweet. Thank you, sis. Look, I think we need to be more honest. And, since I've tapped into my, well, I'm more balanced with my masculine and feminine energy, I'm more logical over facts over feelings. And I still struggle with it, trust me, because like naturally we are emotional. We got tapped more into our nurture and intuition. We tapped in. But these guys, they be using us to heal. I'm not saying that's what he's doing. I'm saying if you recognize the relationship for what it is, then I mean you can't be hurt. Females do it too, but guys do it a lot. They come to you and vent about their girl and everything. You liking them, you digging them, and they going on dates and all this other stuff. And but you're just the emotional relief for them. That's it, and nothing else. Right? I promise you, it is what it is. This is the first book, and it should be right underneath it. I probably should put it together. Are you still here, Mike? Who all here? Type in the chat. Are you still here? Minute. I don't know. I wait where you can get these books. I just know someone gave them to me. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna call you DD. But girl, sometimes I promise you, sometimes we meet people and they're not meant to be our boo thing or whatever. But because our feelings, we make them that, and it's not even the case. I hope these books help. Let's see, my typing skills are being used right now with it. Wish I had a link or something I can go to, but okay. Anyways, I would love to hear some stories while I'm doing this. Okay. Okay. I have another book, but it's but let me just touch on that. What I was saying about somebody's purpose in your life. But sometimes we sit back, we don't know somebody's true purpose. We end up dating people that are seasonal, that people that we were just meant to heal. And as an empath, I've been there too many times. Don't hurt yourself. Just be aware of how powerful emotions are. The more time you spend with somebody, oh yeah. But sometimes we're just meant to heal somebody, being a reminder, be a mirror. That's it. I hope that these books right here, and then the last book is this one. But I encourage anyone that's the celibate because that's a journey. Trust me, I know. And when I tell you celibacy, one thing is teaching me, and it's teaching me to know my body, know my mind, know my boundaries, know my limits as well. It's teaching me so much about myself and teach me how to love me for me. And I don't know about anybody else, but DD, that's what I'm gonna call you. Girl D. Just continue to seek God in this process because you're gonna find out so much about yourself in this time. And I hope that my mistakes will help somebody else. So, but try the 60-day rule. No, let's see, 90 times 90 is 180. Yeah, see, my math is mathing now. So try 180 days instead of 90 days. See that's a head scratcher. But anyways, those are the books. I hope that these help. All right, just continue to check out the videos. I know this video is like over an hour. It's probably one of the longest videos I've ever done live. But I hope that I went in depth about my side of the story. It's still more to it. It's still being written. It's still being written as we are speaking. And I promise you I can show. I wish I can show you my book collection. But these books most definitely help. But codependency, that codependency book. Oh my gosh, we're codependent, even though we don't recognize it. We're codependent every relationship just about. Trust me. But I'm still learning, still work in progress. And when I'm doing this shadow work, ooh, it's so hard. But I love y'all. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was a little tired. I'm like, am I still gonna do this live? Ask God, give me some strength. But I'm taking my words. I'm taking words that God's giving me to give to everyone that's listening to this. Yeah, I gotta excuse me, I'm hungry. But I love you. I love you. I don't know if this ripened up. But anyways, mm, it's not ripe enough. Let's say it's a little. I don't know about that. But as always, I'm going to put the link podcast in here. Check it out. I just did. Excuse me, eating. Mm, you'll trip yourself, girl. I just did a segment about listening better. Now that's like XXXX. So go to this link, anchor.fm, and listen to it. But I have some I have some more juicy segments. And in the beginning of every segment, if you like this, what you're going to expect. You're going to hear the Shay verse. You're going to most likely hear a song. You're going to hear the Shay verse. You can take that because some people just take the Shay verse and don't listen to the whole segment. So that's why I added. Hey, this your motivation for the day. And then you actually hear the message. And I would say out of the heart flows the issues of life, Shay's heart. So you're getting everything in the podcast. But I love y'all. I know it's late. Good night. I love you. I hope someone said. Love, kisses, and remember, out of the heart flows the issues of life. Check out the link. Check out these books. Get back with your girl. Love you. All right. Till next time, be you. Out of heart flows issues of life. Shay's heart.